know yourself and you know you're going to do some procrastination, then for that, ask a colleague or a friend or a family member to be an accountability partner. And on those days to help you along, to kind of remind you of the importance or the value of the goal to you and what it ultimately would mean for you to have it. And you find yourself get back on track.
So officially, welcome to 2022, or as I like to call it, 2020 take 3. So far it's feeling like that. In the good old US of A, where I am, we just had 1 million cases in one day. USA #1. Yes, that's sarcasm. So people, it's great to see you, but be safe. And tell others to be safe and smart and get vaccinated. And it doesn't matter. I don't care if you think this is annoying for me saying it, but like, I just want to travel and I want to go meet the team in India, and I can't until the world stops being sick. So I'm being selfish. That's my New Year resolution. Anyway, we're not going to get started until one of you speakers goes on speaker, because this is like the most awkward thing I've ever had, where like you look like you're smiling and laughing and like there's no sound. Thank you, Neha.
Hi. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, and speaking of New Year's resolutions.
That's right. That's what this webinar is. See, this is why you need more than one person saying words. So happy New Year, happy New Year's resolutions, or happy, what I used to do with my friend Kate, who lives in Australia, we used to do statements of intent. And that's because we were usually talking about resolutions while drinking copious amounts of champagne, sitting on Coogee Beach or Bondi Beach, because we used to have this amazing routine where on Sundays we would meet up at Coogee, we'd take our coffee, we'd do this beautiful cliff walk to Bondi, and then we would park ourselves at our a cafe of some sort, and then we would drink Bellinis and have brunch and pretend that it was okay because we just walked so far from Coogee. And I would say at least half the time we'd actually walk back. Sometimes we stumbled, but that's Australia for you. So Kate, if you are here in spirit, I miss you and I love you. And those blueberry pancakes at Hugo's used to be so freaking good. Oh my God. Anyway, statements of intent, resolutions, whatever you do. Today, we have our lovely panel of Kocharia coaches, alumni trainers, current learners, Neha, talking about how we can apply all this awesome stuff that we learn in the world of coaching to actually succeeding. And I'm guessing how we can help our clients to get there too. So Neha is going to drive today. I'm going to vanish. And well, I will never vanish. I'm always here. I'm always watching. So behave. Always watching. Especially you, Prakash. Whenever there's a guy on the panel, you gotta be careful. I don't know what that was. Anyway, Neha, have fun. Everyone, welcome. Happy New Year. Great to see you. I'm very happy to be here with you for the first week of the year and for every week thereafter, because that's what we do. So see you later. See you next week. Neha, take it away.
See you, Magda. Thank you for this. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm so excited to be here. Just so you know, I'm Neha. I'm from the marketing team of Kocharia, and I am a current learner as well. I've just started my coach training with Smita and Tracy. How exciting! How awesome is that? And I'm so excited to be here with everyone. It's such a great way to start the year and like have the first webinar be, us talking about how to use coaching principles to set and keep your resolutions this year. And honestly, we really came up with the topic because it's something I think we all need. I have asked so many people that I've talked to, what's your New Year's resolution? And half of them have said like they don't have one. Half of them have said that, they're thinking about it, or they have something pretty ambitious in mind as well. So there's the entire spectrum is there. So I would love to ask all of you, have you set a New Year's resolution, and are you willing to share it? If you are, please leave a little comment in our chat window, and we'd love to hear from you. And I will be monitoring the chat as well, so you can ask all your questions. Magda wants to floss her teeth. Excellent.
Neha, that was an office reference.
Yes,
I already flossed my teeth.
Excellent. Midnight, boom, midnight, blood everywhere. I think that's the reference. Anyway, great. So please drop it in the comments if you have actually set one. And yes, great. So we'll be proceeding to talk about this now. So you know what? Actually, the first thing I want to ask each of you is, what did you do on New Year's Eve? I'm really curious to know, because everyone is so different, and yeah, it's just really interesting for me. So Cindy, can we start with you?
There still some concerns around the virus. So we were normal family stuff, limited amount of people with dinner, light music, celebrations, and it was family orientated.
Sounds lovely. It's mellow and lovely. What about you, Prakash? What about you?
We had a house party with friends, party till midnight.
Oh my goodness.
We had some COVID restrictions in place.
Okay.
So everybody stayed over in my house. So it was all the more fun. So it was like, party was not over till the next day morning. So it was good.
Excellent. That sounds great. Smita, what about you?
Hello, everyone. I wish you a warm New Year wishes. Thank you for joining in. See that there's 73 participants. So lovely to have you all. Yeah. It was a great New Year party for me this time. It's also my son's birthday on the 31st. So it's always a party time on the 31st. But this year we were in Udaipur. And just the view was, just in front of the city palace. So great lighting behind. Yeah, it was a different and a unique experience. I had a good time with family.
That sounds lovely. That sounds great. We have everybody in the spectrum. We have our party animal, Prakash. We have our travel bug, Smita. We have a family person, Cindy. And what did I do? I played a lot of piano that day, and then I cuddled with my cat, and I was in bed by 11:30. So yeah, that's just how it is, So, and just like we all had different things that we did on New Year's Eve, I'm sure people have different intentions and resolutions for 2022. And New Year's resolutions have just become this kind of joke that people joke about it. I think in our culture, in all cultures across the globe, that it's just meant to be broken. But I think when, in our community, in our coaching community, we're all about, being the best versions of ourselves and encouraging others to be the best versions of themselves. And so I think I get this feeling that probably New Year's resolutions have a really unique resonance for all of us, for the people who are here right now, and in the chat. Can you give me a yes if that's true? Are you thinking about your resolution very intentionally? Yes, I'm getting some big yeses. Asghar, Sylvester, Rochelle, Gabriella. Awesome. I love it. Great. Lots of yeses coming in. Glad to hear it. So the first thing that comes to my mind is, how does one start to think about a New Year's resolution? How do you identify what a good New Year's resolution should be? That I would want to achieve. Perhaps the timeline would be a year, correct? So the timeline is already given to us. So what can a goal look like? Magda mentioned already resolutions and intention statements or something like that. So what are your initial thoughts on this? I'd love to hear. Prakash, you want to go first?
For me, when we look at goals, what does New Year do to us is, it gives a fresh perspective. It's like, giving you a fresh lease of 365 days. Now that's where I want to start with. And the second thing is, before I do anything, I have this concept of clear to create. So, clear 2021 to create 2022. So there is something that I need to clear before I create something. So I look for opportunities in the month of December to say, what is that I want to intentionally forget for last year? Whom do I want to forgive or forget? Or whom do I want to discount? Whom do I don't want to meet again? Or whom do I want to build new relationships? So when I come to create, I ask questions like, who, what is that I want to do really for myself, especially my sense of being. If I had some grade of happiness and peace this year, where do I want to be in the next year? So for me, that's where the goal starts coming in for me.
Yeah, and how do you narrow it down then? Because it sounds like, clear and create. I love it, because there's so much that we also need to let go before we start, turning the page. So yeah, I'm curious, how do you distill it down to a resolution or several resolutions?
So, just asking on different contexts of for example, what do I do? What do I want to do as a coach? For this year, if I want to say that, okay, let me start my track of MCC this year and let's see where it goes. So, for a coach, Cindy is very happy. I can see that.
I noticed that too. Cindy has a big smile.
So as a coach, what is that I want to do? So I can, probably ask as a sports enthusiast, what is that I want to do? So recently I picked up powerlifting. I thought, I had a free month or two gym membership in a powerlifting place. So I tried myself. I kind of liked it. So probably I would like to continue in 2022 and see actually where it goes. My target is about 280 kilos deadlift. Let's see, if I can reach there in 2022. So yeah, so in different areas of life, just writing. I was just writing in my diary also. So what is that I want to do in terms of saving money, because earning probably is not in my great control, but saving is definitely in my control. So I look forward to what I can do with my savings. So yeah, I started. 5th is today. Yeah, 5th is today. So I started with some extra savings for this year. So that's another goal. So whether it is money, career, fitness, as a family, what is that I want to do? So 2 kids are done. So no more additional targets, but factors that, what is that I want to do with my kids? So how much time can I spend with them? What is that I can do with my family? So, in every context of life, just writing one simple goal that I can actually do. What I'm willing to do. In fact, it's more than what I can do. It's what am I willing to do. That's how I crystallize my goals.
Yeah, what you're willing to do. So does that mean what are you motivated to do already? What are you inspired to do already? Is that?
I kind of saw some flashes on the chat. People said, SMART goals. I kind of agree with SMART goals. It is, more specific. There is some time bound, all of that. But I would just like to add 2 E's to it. I call it SMARTEE goals. It's like smoothie,
SMARTEE goals. Okay.
SMARTEE goals. So one E for me is how ecological it is. By doing that, how am I serving to other areas of life? Because, just because my goal is to lift 280 kilos deadlift, am I disturbing my health? Am I affecting my body? Am I doing something, am I doing some disservice to my body? Because if I break down, then, other areas of life will get affected. Or if I say that, this is my earning goal for this year, and then, if I don't give time for my family, if I don't give time for my socializing, then I'm doing disservice to other areas of life. So one is, how ecological is my goal? And the second E is, am I excited to do something? So if I'm not excited, then I don't do it. So I say the goal to myself that, okay, let me do MCC. And, if I have to do MCC because market is demanding, because my clients are demanding, then it is kind of an obligation that I'm putting on myself. If I have to do, then I don't like doing it. Right. Excitement is the key. I'm actually excited. Even before Smita reached out to me, I called her and said, when is the MCC journey starting? She said, I'll check and come back. So I'll keep checking with her because I'm excited. And she even asked me, is this the right time? I don't know whether it's the right time, but I'm excited to do right now. Whether it is the right time to do, whether it will give me my returns on whatever I'm investing, that's not the point. I'm excited to do. So 2022 is the time for MCC. As simple as that. So wow. 2 years added to whatever statements that I make actually gives me drive to chase the goals.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you also said deadlift, because that's one of my favorite things in the world. I won't even say favorite exercise. It is hands down my favorite exercise. It's just so much fun. You feel strong, powerful, and really cool. But also, you're right. There are issues that can come up. Recovery can be an issue. You're recovering from a workout where you're trying to go lift so heavy. And that can have an effect on your health. It can have an effect on, your family life as well, because you're just too tired to do anything with that. All these things can kind of come up. So you're just a little bit low key, kind of frustrated all the time, or a little bit more short with people. So all these things also come up with things like that. So I love that you mentioned ecological, because that's something that I have not considered when it comes to my goals, but it seems like it feels and resonates as a pretty key factor in setting up a SMART goal. And I noticed in the comments, some people have said, Asghar has said love, like adding love to it as well. So fantastic. That's a great addition. I think that's similar to the last E that you put in, Prakash, the excitement. Are you excited to do it? Great. Yeah. And good luck, Prakash.
Thanks, Neha.
Good luck. Yeah. If you do go ahead with your 280 kg deadlift, which I think you will, I know you will, in fact, when you do get your 280 kg deadlift, please send us the video.
Yeah, sure.
You can post it up on our socials saying this is Prakash, reaching his resolution for 2022.
Yeah. I have 140 video as on December. So next December, it will be 280.
Awesome. Wow, you're going to double it this year. That's fantastic. Awesome. Very exciting. Great. Smita, you're up next. Do you want to talk about how do you start thinking about a New Year's resolution? Is there anything you want to add to what Prakash said?
Yeah, so it's like that time of the year when we are so hopeful, right? Like hopeful for the year that things are going to be in our favor. We are going to plan and things are going to turn around as what we planned for, right? I really like to, break it up into like what you asked Prakash about, crystallizing it. So I would just say that when identifying what I want to achieve or making a resolution, I really want to know, why is that goal important? Like what is making it important? Once understanding that, I think then chasing that goal becomes much more easier. And then that also leads me to kind of identify what is that I'm getting that intrinsic motivation, right? I'll just give an example, a personal example. Last year, I had this goal of getting up in the Brahma Muhurtam. That's a Sanskrit word. And that means knowledge period. It's also called a nectar period that starts 1 hour 36 minutes before the sunrise. So I intended to get up whole of 21 in the Brahma Muhurta. Now, while I came of the importance of getting up at that time of the day, it was always said that, you know, getting up during that period gives success. Now, so what is success, right? Like for different people, success would mean differently, right? Like for one, it could be just about money or designation, or for me, it was more about balance. The success would mean balance for me is what I realized when I just started, you know, putting that into practice. When I started getting up during that time of the day, I was just realizing that what is it that is changing inside me, and because of that, what is changing externally. So I saw that, my response to things was more versus my reaction, right? So that I considered as success. I just, when things would become challenging around, because now we are in those challenging times, right? Like I stay in a joint family with 2 younger kids and 2 elderly parents. Things are in a different shape right now. And in that sense, we are quite exposed to a lot of emotions around. And when we are working from home, that balance becomes so important. So the impact, the success was seen that in me being less anxious, being much more calmer to, you know, difficult situations around. So for me, I could just understand that the success definition is not just about getting success with money, or getting success with work, or getting success with designation, but rather to find out that peace and a harmonious relationship between the professional and the personal front.
Wow.
So yeah, and just to add, so definitely what Prakash said was so beautiful. I would actually change my now definition about the SMART goals and add those 2 E's that he mentioned. So yeah, that's my bit on that.
Thank you, Smita. That's really lovely. So what I'm hearing is that you had this intention of waking up at a certain time. That was kind of the very tangible act that you were doing, of like waking up at a certain time. And I didn't actually know about this. This is very interesting, that the 1 hour 36 minutes prior to sunrise, right? That's super early. And I think we can all agree some of us would probably be more reactive if we had to wake up that early. But I'm curious, like going into this resolution, or like going into this act of waking up early, did you already have this in mind, that maybe I'll be less reactive and be more responsive, or was it something that emerged on its own?
Yeah. That's a beautiful question. So I would just say that, you know, this my intent with the waking up early was not just 2 years back, right? Like I have seen my dad waking up at that time from very early in my life. At that time, the saying all of us have heard, right? Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, wise. And I used to hate that saying then, because it just said man healthy, wealthy, and wise, and not everyone. But then later, when I start getting the importance of this saying, I was just thinking that what is healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? Like the meaning of these words was so limited. Now, when we say healthy, for a person who is physically healthy, right, he will just think that I need not wake up early because I am healthy. But healthy just does not mean physical health, but it also means overall well-being, which also includes mental wellness, right? Now, we never knew, or rather, I would say I never knew that getting up early has an impact on the mental wellness as well.
Mm.
So the saying which we grew up listening so often in our childhood was very limited, and I think I have now with practice, I just what the question that you asked, I think it's only with practice that I realized that I am more responsive and reactive and less reactive because I started something new. And I'm also seeing the days when I end up getting a bit late, it immediately shows I am more productive on the days where I am waking up early.
That's really remarkable. That's remarkable. It's interesting how like we intend to do something, so when we start acting, and then the results follow. And I also love how you said there was this quote, and it felt limiting and constricting, and it also had the term man in it, which I totally agree with. It's, you know, but you've kind of, through your own actions and through your own work that you've put into waking up early, as I'm sure we'll all agree it is work, that through those actions you have given a new meaning. You've given it your own meaning, and you've made it much more meaningful than it used to be for you. So that's really lovely to hear. Great. Cindy, what would you like to share with us about goal setting? How do we go about?
So I think the one thing I want to pick up, Prakash spoke about it, where he spoke about excitement, and Smita spoke about hope and the internal changes that she found, and you just spoke about now meaningfulness. So the one thing around setting resolutions or goals, we have some attachment to it. And the attachment can be this lovely marker 3.3. I can't help but use marker language or competency language. The value or the meaningfulness of the goals that to us. What is the value or meaningfulness of it? So there's some kind of attachment to it, meaning there's something we've been thinking we'd like to do or want to achieve, and it may be playing for some time on our minds. And a new year brings new inspiration and new hope. So we may say, this is the year I'm going to start it. And that puts more motivation into it, right? Inspiration, motivation, to kind of have a start point and say, I am going to start it. And some would say, well, I want to achieve it in 6 months. And some would say it's the entire year. We all have goals that flow from one year into another. I like to call it a theme. So I'd like to say for myself, I have a theme for the year. My 2022 theme is to get better with admin. Many coaches don't like admin work. My theme for this year is to get better with it, to make friends with it also, accept it and get better with it. So that's one of the things I wanted to pick up on was our this has to be some sort of attachment value to the goals we set for ourselves. Then the journey to continuously working on it, taking actions on it, there's a systemic flow to it inside, and we see external value adds, and then we get more motivated to doing more around that goal or resolution because we can see successes around us. So there was another part of that question you asked me. How do we set goals? Is that what you were asking?
Yes. Yeah? What's a good way to go about setting our resolutions for this year?
Sit down for yourself in a quiet moment, if you want to call it self-coaching or reflection, whatever it is. But sit down quietly for yourself or by yourself and write down some of the things you've been longing to do. You've been keep saying, I'm going to do this. Write that down for yourself. And then look at it, look at this list and see what you can do now or even start now. For example, some of it may be quite big, like I want to write a book. It may be quite big, but because it's been playing on your mind for a while, you may want to make the start now and take a few action steps around it. So the first step will be around sitting down, doing some writing for yourself. And if you're still not clear, then have a chat with somebody close to you, like a colleague, a friend, and ask your questions so they could ask you questions. And between both of you, you could get more clarity for yourself on what you want to work on. Goals are quite clear. It's like bringing something I want in the future into now. There's like a desired outcome to the goal, right? So it's something for the future that you're bringing into the present. So with that perspective, just check in with yourself. What is it you're longing for, have been putting on hold, and now I want to say, yes, 2022 is my year. I'm going to start this.
Is everyone else feeling as inspired as I am? Lovely. This is so lovely. Sitting quietly by ourselves, it seems to be like the really important factor here. Actually sitting down, taking the time to do it. I have talked to a few people who said, oh, I haven't set a resolution this year. I'm just taking it easy. And it's like, well, no, I think we all need to, sit and reflect on our lives at some point, and we all end up doing that. It may not happen in the new year, but that's really great to do it either by yourself. And then if you're not able to get clarity, go to someone else, go to a trusted friend, go to a coach, talk to someone, it out and like flesh it out. Okay, great. So, one thing that seems to be coming up a lot is that there's some people talking about SMART goals, and then there's some people talking about intentions. And then I'm also seeing in the comments, there are people talking about having a word for the year, just having a word. Someone said, I want playful is my word. Someone said joy is my word. And so I'm wondering, Cindy, how do it's all very personal, right? It's all very personal to ourselves. Like, what do we want to set as our resolution? How do we begin the journey? Different, like we have our deadlifts, so we know, okay, we have to go from 140 to 145 in the next workout. It's a very tangible thing that you're going to do. But if something like joy, something like playful, or how do we stay mindful of that, go about starting that journey into achieving our goals or getting closer to that future point that we're bringing into the present?
That's a very valuable question, Neha. Because when you get inspired by something sometimes or excited by it, when there's a lot of emotions, and emotions are that feel good, it's a feel good thing. It's quite easy to stay in that feel good state and not do anything about it. Yeah. And then, you'll have your ups and downs, moments where you feel good and moments where you're not. And in those not so good moments, you'll say to yourself, I need to work more on this. But something will happen and you feel good again. And you forget that you were supposed to do something about it. So even if what you're saying is, this year, I'm going to go easy on myself. Even if that is your goal, now you've got to figure out how, the how question. And how am I going to do this now? How am I going to start including taking a break or taking it easy for myself or joy? How am I going to start including more of that this year? And then pick at least two steps or two things you could do to include joy. And joy may mean, for some people, I'm just using an example, I stop work at 4 o'clock. Maybe that's joy for you. Joy may mean sitting down and watching a Netflix movie every second day. If that's your moments of joy, then you got to now start bringing that into your everyday life. Put that into your diary if you have to. So those things that have this emotional attachment, and most of the time we don't do anything about, think about those things and include it into your diary as an action step or time for yourself or something like that. But make it tangible and make it become a task with an activity or a deadline into your diary.
I love it. That's fantastic. So even if it's something like joy, we can kind of make it like into a SMART goal, maybe. but without having to go into that kind of detail, I like that you made it so simple. 2 tangible steps that you can take, 2 actions that you can take to start the process, to get into that zone. Prakash, I would love to ask you if you have anything to add to that, like how do we get started towards our goals? So with you, for example, you have your awesome goal of the deadlifts. I know you have other resolutions too in other spheres of your life, but since I just gravitate towards that because now you mentioned it, now I can't stop talking about deadlift. So the how is pretty clear for you. I think what I would love to know about for you is how are you going to stay motivated to keep going, like bring yourself into that. So you mentioned the last T is excitement, right? How do you keep yourself excited to get to that goal?
Yeah, I'm just trying to build on what Cindy just said right now. So there are 2 things that comes to me, when we say resolution, in a lot of ways, resolution is almost become a taboo word because people say, I made a resolution and I broke it. Okay. And, sometimes, resolution is I'll stop, I'll give up alcohol from next year and I start drinking on 31st and I actually go on first till morning. So I've not yet broken, I have not even, started my resolution because I started, I ended up drinking on first at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning. So I did not do anything about that resolution. So one thing is about slogan versus action. So we have surplus of thoughts and words. What is deficit is action. So, I keep asking myself if this is what I want to do. Okay, the second part to it is, are my daily actions relevant to what I want in my life? So, Cindy mentioned that I want to write a book. So if I want to write a book, am I even thinking about it every day? Forget about doing something. Okay, I don't mind if I have not written a chapter in a week's time or in a month's time, but even am I thinking about it? I just don't walk into forums like this, meet evolved souls and say, oh my God, even I wanted to write a book. And then suddenly a goal props up. And then there's a New Year resolution. And next year, I wait for another forum like this where evolved souls are again propelling that thing in me that, okay, I wanted to write a book. So, if my daily actions are relevant to what I want in life, I think I'm driving towards my goal. So, more action than the slogans that I make, and trying to make as much as relevance. If I want to do something, every day I need to do something. So, and it should be relevant to my long-term goal. Because I can't, because you said about the deadlift, I can't one day wake up and pick up 280 kilos. I'll break my back. It's not going to happen. So I need to do something every day which is relevant that can take me up there. And even if it is a 260 or a 240 or even 200, I know that I've worked towards it. So it's still a good goal. So next year maybe I can have a better goal. I don't know whether 280 is possible, but it's just just a thought. If I could do 140, I think I can do. So let me try. But then are my actions relevant to my long-term goal? So what am I doing every day is For me, the key word is every day. What am I doing every day?
I love that. And that ties so beautifully to what Cindy said about having those tangible steps.
Yeah.
And I also love what you said, that there is enough, there's a surplus of thoughts and words in our lives, but not enough of actions. And, I think distilling down those actions and then actually just executing is probably where we all fall a little bit short. But I think even in the chat, I'm seeing people saying, procrastination tends to take over, and we all just become lazy after a point, which is what prompted this question for me as well. How do you maintain that excitement? I think maybe it's also a little bit overrated to only rely on that excitement. I think the anchor is always there, but in your day-to-day, when you are feeling sore and you're tired and you're exhausted and you do need to go into the gym the next day, will that excitement still be there? Probably not. But maybe if you see that you have made the progress from 140 to 150 to 160 to 200, then you'll be like, okay, you know what? I put in the work. I've gotten till here. I'm going to keep going. So maybe the momentum is what is probably required, and momentum can only come when we do take that action. Am I missing anything from what you just said, Prakash?
Brilliant.
Awesome. Great. Smita, I'd love to hear from you. What do you have to say about this? I'm sure you can see that in the chat as well, people talking about, getting support, recruiting people to keep us going. How do we keep ourselves going towards our goal? How do we start the process? How did you do the waking up so early? That is the thing that I'm still that you woke up an hour, 6 minutes before sunrise. But yeah, how do you start and how do you keep going? What do you do when the days are tough and you don't want to do it?
Yeah, I think this is so relevant to what we do in coaching, is to identify the goal right? Like, and rest all steps will just come till the action will just fall in place. So for me, it was like, if I would just see waking up early as success, right? Like, in that definition of success, I would just feel that is just a want, right? Like, I really wanted to understand the need beneath that want. And that happened, that need of it was identified when I just started practicing it for a few months. And I just saw the ripple effect of waking up early in other spheres. Unknowingly, it was helping me in so many other things. It was not just about, I just gave example of reaction versus response, but there are so many other things that, which kind of made me to be a better version of myself. So I think identifying that need was definitely one of the key factors. I'm so glad that, I could see the positive effects of it, which actually motivated me to, just continue with that till it has become a habit, till it is now, it's almost like brushing my teeth now. So it doesn't, I don't have to force myself, and nobody has to tell me. I need not set an alarm also for myself. And I'm so glad that, with practice, this has happened. Coming to Yeah, and coming to the support, I think that we definitely need support. It is not possible until and unless we have the support of the people around. And I think to get that support, I feel communication was such a key. I mean, because of the waking up early, I had to change few other things also in my routine. Like, I wanted to wind up my dinner by around, say, 6:30 p.m. in the evening. And that, staying in a joint family is a bit of a challenge, in the sense, I don't know if I should be saying this, but it is like, the daughter-in-law just eating before even others in the family would eat was something, challenging the older beliefs. And that's something which, I worked around that as well, by having those conversations with everyone around in the family, just encouraging them as well. But of course, leaving the choice to them whether they want to eat that early. But now everyone understands why is it that I wanted to, finish off my dinner so early. So I think, communication is definitely another thing which I rely on so much. And I believe in the power of listening and then just openly discussing these things with the family.
I love that you brought in that aspect of how do we enroll other people into our resolutions, because I think that will be an important part of everyone's journey. Everyone who is aiming for something, who wants something, who is stretching themselves to achieve something, it is going to be we are going to take the actions ourselves, but others around us will support us, encourage us, cheer us on, and adjust to us, frankly speaking, because some things may require adjustment. It may not, it may be a very selfish thing that we are doing, right? We may be doing something that is just for us. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. We do have to do things that are for us, right? So for other people to be understanding and to be accepting of us is such a gift. And I'm really glad that you got that, Smita, with your family. Yeah, and I love that you said that you do also have to be open to listening to what other people have to say. What do they have to say? What are truly their concerns, and how can we address those things as well, instead of just saying, I'm going to do this. Everyone else can just, let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I am just seeing somebody saying, I'm not able to see the name. Why do we call that selfish?
Yeah.
Is that Vinita? Yeah. So it's not like it is selfish, but it's like we are challenging some of the older belief systems, right? But then to do that, it's not like what Neha said, just go and take your plate and just go in the side and just continue, but just to talk and make things clear and to mention the reason. I think even if we have to be selfish for once, it is needed, right? But then with proper communication, things can be different.
Yeah, I love that. Vinita, yeah, I know I also use the word selfish. I think I corrected myself immediately as well. That that's not how I really meant it. I mean, a goal that we are setting, it is personal to ourselves. And it may not necessarily involve other people, but other people are affected by it. They will get impacted by it, by our changed actions. So, just like in the case of Smita. So, that was the intention behind using that word. I hope that's clear. Cindy, I would love to hear from you as well on, how do we keep going? Hey, you brought up the great point about, having these at least two tangible steps. Now, what if I'm waking up and I'm like, I don't feel like doing these two tangible things today, or I keep procrastinating until later in the day, as many people have actually mentioned in the chat that procrastination is a big problem. And I think with procrastination, speaking from personal experience, bit of kind of like hiding away and denial when it comes to procrastination. So tying it back to what you had said earlier about sitting down alone quietly and writing down your resolutions. I think if we all did that, it may be a little bit easier for us to stop procrastinating, because we would actually be sitting and reflecting on ourselves. But if we are not reflecting, if we are procrastinating, pushing things back, trying to kind of hide from the actions that we had set out to do, especially later in the year, right now we have all this New Year buzz, everybody's talking about resolutions, we are talking about resolutions. Over a period of time, when we are in that zone where we just want to shrink and not do it, what would you say to a person in that state?
I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but I'm going to say this in relationship to what you said. It's good to surround yourself when working with goals. It's good to surround yourself with support, resources, accountability partners, especially if it's a big, bodacious goal or something challenging. And when it's something big or something challenging, it's easy to fall back and do exactly what you're saying. Some days just drag your feet and say, not today. And tomorrow will also become a not today. And, the next day, it's quite easy to fall into that. It's having accountability partners or support or resources there that will help you get back on track. You know, especially if you know yourself and you know you're going to do some procrastination, then for that, ask a colleague or a friend or a family member to be an accountability partner. And on those days to help you along, to kind of remind you of the importance of the value of the goal to you and what it ultimately would mean for you to have it. And you find yourself get back on track. Now, the part I wanted to say that, that I kept for a bit later was, don't be too harsh on yourself when working on a big goal. Be kind to yourself. There are going to be days where you're going to feel offish. That doesn't mean you're going to, come down hard on yourself. Just take it as one off day. And the next day, get right back on track, or for the next action or whatever, get back on track. So be kind to yourself. Allow yourself a few off days, and tell yourself those off days is okay. It's once off. I will get back on track. Because the thing is, when you start building up negative feelings towards yourself and that goal you want to work on, it's quite easy then to let it go. To say, oh, I can't do this, or I'm not good at this, and this is over for me, or something like that. It's quite good to go chip, 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 lost, gone now. The wall's down. I don't want to do this anymore. So instead of that, rather do something different. Come up with an agreement to yourself that even if you have an off day, the next day you'll get right back on track with your goal.
Excellent. I love that, to be kind to ourselves and to just get back on track. And I think this sounds to me like, and also what you said before about having your accountability partners remind you of the meaning and the value that goal has for you, and how are you going to feel when you get it. Just here alone makes me feel excited, and it reminds me that, okay, you know what, I'm gonna get back to the goal that I have set for myself. So be kind to yourself, get back to it. Take action, take action, take action. Words, intentions are great, but actions are also important. Actions are the things that are going to get us closer to our goals. They are the steps that we are taking towards our goals. That's what I'm hearing.
And add little, resources don't need to be big things. It could be like an alarm clock if you want to get up early. It could be your diary, or it could be a vision board or a piece of paper stuck in front of you where you can see it all the time, reminding you to go to gym or something like that, right? So resources could be the simplest little trigger points that will anchor you to your goal or keep you on track with your goal. Surround yourself with that, at least for the first few weeks. And when you establish your rhythm of working on your goal, you won't need it anymore. But surround yourself with support, resources, and people that can be accountability partners to you.
Yeah, that's very well said. That's so simple. It doesn't sound complicated or out of reach. It sounds like it's achievable. It sounds doable, and that's what we want. Great. So Smita, you mentioned in the chat, I noticed that self-coaching is a great tool to keep going when you're not feeling up to doing the thing that you need to do that day. So could you just touch on that a little bit for people who don't know what self-coaching is or what it looks like, what it involves? I'm one of those people, by the way. So maybe you can talk a little bit about self-coaching, what that entails.
Yeah, sure. I would just like to acknowledge what Cindy said first. We don't need big resources. I think that's such a brilliant point, because we all think that, for something big to happen, we really need to do something big or have big resources to make these things happen. But I think with very little thing, like what Cindy said, alarm. So I was on vacation. I visited my brother's family, and I just saw that in my brother's watch, he had some 20 alarms set for the day. For every 10 minutes it would just snooze, and he would do something. I have never seen him paying the bills late. For everything, he's just on time. And this time when I observed, I just thought that he's just using his watch for all these small little things, which is such a small thing. The only thing is, I think he had this intention that none of his bills are going to be, he will not get delayed, or with every little thing, right? Like even if it's he has to get up every 10 minutes and do some stretching exercise, even for that I saw there is a snooze in the watch. So that's a great point, Cindy. Yeah, so coming to self-coaching, this is something which I really rely upon. It is as good as having a coach or talking to a coach. If you can become your own coach, you'll don't have to fix appointments. You don't have to wait for the calendar availability. It's just that if you can be as vulnerable, and also if you can challenge yourself as your coach would, right? So in self-coaching, the only challenging thing can be we can give ourselves better excuses. And in one of the earlier webinar, I just said that you can't tickle yourself as good as if somebody else can, and the effect of that would be. But then here but I think with self-coaching, I really feel that if we can exactly take us through all the steps of the CC3s, I think that itself is going to be enough. Yeah, can we just look at what the goal is? Can we identify the SMART goal, and then move into the importance, the blocks, the support that we need, everything. And maybe if it helps, maybe putting it down, or like Cindy mentioned, having an accountability partner. Talk to your partner, talk to a friend, and just take yourself through the entire process. And if you feel that just by sharing it with someone else, you know that you have an accountability partner who is external, right? Like, so that is something which we can follow. Yeah, so that's about it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Smita. Thanks for explaining that so beautifully. Yeah, great. I think we are close to the end of the timing here right now, but I do want to scan through the comments just once. I have a little quote here, which I feel is so relevant to what we've talked about, which is what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. So I'm just going to say that again. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. It's a quote by David Thoreau. And, I think it's so amazing to hear the different types of goals that everybody's setting, the different resolutions that everyone is setting for themselves. And, Smita, your example already, I'm thinking about what you said about waking up early and then how it impacted you, what it made you become. You became a different person by achieving that goal of waking up early. You became less reactive and more responsive. I mean, I think we could all use a little bit of that in our lives. Prakash, likewise, you as well. I don't think it's just about getting that 280 kg deadlift. It's who you become. You become this stronger person who, not just physically, but also mentally, you've achieved something so big. So if, I would love to hear your closing thoughts, everyone, like from each of you, and I would love to even just hear from you what your resolutions are for this year. Prakash, maybe one which is a non-deadlift one. Maybe you can start.
So as I told, as a coach, for me, two things. One is what I want to have for myself, which is, the MCC the journey that I want to walk through. And as a coach, I want to stay and be curious. I know it can sound very phony, but I think that's what makes me as a coach, and that's what keeps me as a coach. So one simple thing, to stay and be curious all the time. So I think that's what I want to do for 2022 as a coach.
Love it. Stay curious and get your MCC. We'll definitely hold you accountable to that, Prakash. Now you've said it in front of 80 plus people, so we've got your back. We'll keep checking in on you. What about you, Smita?
Okay, so I would, just get better at what I had set up for 21. But other than that, like I know, I believe in the collective, strength of this group. So I want to just commit here that I want to learn something new this year. I don't know what that is as of now, but I would, would identify it soon, but something new, something which I have not done it before.
Love it. I love hearing that. Great. Cindy?
I think I want to acknowledge all our participants first, because if you are here in this webinar talking about goals and resolutions, then you yourself want to work on something big or something for yourself, a theme or a goal or a resolution or an intention. And an acknowledgement to you, because you're one of those few who want something for yourself and you are taking some steps. Even if attending the webinar is your first step. So, a lot of people don't do that. They go through a lifetime without working on their goals. You are different. So, well done to you. And the other thing I want to say before asking you a question, Neha, was that my goals for this year are lots of little smaller ones, small things I'm working on. And I think many of it is a continuation from last year and some new things. But the one big thing I chose for myself this year is to definitely write that book that I've been thinking about for a while. So, yeah, so that's what I'm going to be working on. And I'd like to ask you, what are some of your goals for the year?
Thank you so much, Cindy. Thanks a lot for asking the question as well. Okay, this is the big one for me. The really big one that feels really important to me right now is to be open to all possibilities and potential. And that's something that I've been a person who always thinks of the worst case scenario. Whenever I'm about to go into, even if it's a project or if it's a, something that I know I'm going to fine at, even coming for this webinar, in the initial days when I used to host webinars, I used to be so terrified and scared. And I used to always think, what if the power goes out? What if I fumble on my words? What if I, and then I would think of contingency plans. So I would prepare for those scenarios. I would like tell somebody else that, okay, this might happen, that might happen. And I would have somebody else who is a host. So I would have contingency plans for the worst case scenario, but I was never open to it going brilliantly, and that's something I realized, that I need to be in that zone where I'm open to all possibilities and potential, and for things to work out really well too, and not just think all the time about worst case scenarios. Big one for 2022.
Thank you for sharing that. I have a bit of vulnerability in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy, for asking the question. There's an app that I use, which, there are plenty of apps. I guess you can even just use an alarm. You don't need an app for this. That sends me messages throughout the day. Like you can program in a message or two throughout that just keeps coming back to you throughout the day. And one of the messages that I have programmed for myself is be open to all possibilities and potential. And over the past few days, I have been getting that message randomly throughout the day. And during that time, I'll be, engrossed in some task, and I'll be like, oh God, this is so difficult. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm stressed about something that's going to happen later. Maybe there's a meeting coming up, maybe there's something else, whatever it may be. And the message comes up to me like, hey, be open to all possibilities and potential. And it's a game changer for me, personally speaking. So that's mine.
Neha, can you type it in the chat box?
Sure, I would be more than happy to.
Wanda has asked the question. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Wanda, I'm using an app called Mind Jogger. I think it's only available on iOS. But yeah, Mind Jogger is the name of the app. But then I think you can all find different ways to set it up for yourself. You can have recurring alarms throughout the day. It can be anything. So yeah, I hope you all also find ways to, set your resolution. I hope that all of you are as inspired and pumped up as I am to go into this new year and just embrace it, embrace all the possibilities and potential of it as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our amazing panelists. I really, really appreciate you coming on and just entertaining all my long-winded questions and helping me as well, helping me get my mind straight about 2022. Thanks again. Thank you everyone for attending. Thanks for your participation. It's always great to have everybody here in the community. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. Here's to an amazing 2022.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.